Yo, I'm back again, man. I'm back again. So, um, a lot of people been leaving us interesting questions. So, babe, somebody had a question to ask why HBC athletics was suffering. Yeah, a lot of people been asking us. I ain't responded. So, shout out to that boy Josh G, man, for asking that question. He hit us in the mailbag on Twitter. So, I'm gonna give y'all a reason why. I'm gonna break down the history of HBCU athletics and then tell you why it's suffering. Because I went to a SWAC school. I went to an HBCU. You know what I'm saying? So I know the parameters and the dynamics and the exclusion and the inclusion that we suffer. Sometimes it's outside forces, but a lot of times it's in house too. And I'm gonna break it down for you. So HBCUs were created 150 years ago out of racism. It was segregation. Separate but equal. And the doctrination of Plessy Ferguson. Now during that time frame, we were dominating. Like HBCU athletics was really good because a lot of black players could not play for a lot of these schools around America, the USC, the Alabama, the Mississippi State. So they would have to play. They were forced to kind of play in the HBCU and play in the MEAC, play in the SWAC. And so that's why if you see majority of our Hall of Famers come from that era. They come from the 40s, they come from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s because they couldn't play nowhere else. It was just now it became popular like around I would say maybe the 80s or 90s where you saw more of an influx of black players playing at different programs. And as you can see now, them programs have just they shot through the roof. And now a lot of people ask, so why did HBCUs not shoot through the roof? Because they had all these black players too. And I'm gonna give you a question. I'll give you an answer on that one. The reason why is because a lot of it is in house. Now, I go back to a great example with the late great Eddie Robinson out of Grambling, out of Ruston, Louisiana. Eddie Robinson, when he first started coaching at Grambling, he cut the grass. He coached baseball. He coached tennis. He coached girls basketball, and he also coached football. And he was putting in all these hours, putting in all these work. Nobody had the vision to be like, you know what? Let's make sure that he's regarded as the greatest coach of all time. Because one, we didn't invest in athletics. HBCUs have never, ever, ever invested in athletics. If you look at our facilities, it's always, I guess, subpar or way, way below standard. Way below standard, which is an issue. Here's this man, Eddie Robinson, who did so much for this school, for this university, and he doesn't even have a statue on campus. The players a couple years ago boycotted playing football because the facilities were so bad. Stop, Junior. They were so terrible. They didn't even want to play. They're like, man, the hell with this. We can't play in this. They didn't have a practice. They don't have a practice field. Um, they had to catch the bus everywhere, which is true. You do. You playing in a SWAC in HBCU period, you catching a bus. So if you in Texas, you catching that bus to Ruston, or you catching that bus to Baton Rouge, you catching that bus to Jackson, Mississippi, you catching that bus to Lorman, to play Alcorn State, and that's a long ass bus ride. That is far. And could you imagine you trying to take a bus ride from here to Tallahassee, which is over 15 hours? Your legs are dead. They're dead tired. The last thing you want to do is play an afternoon game in Tallahassee after you'd caught a bus for damn 20 hours. So I be understanding their frustration because I went through it too. I understand what they're going through. I understand that anger catching a damn bus that far. Because I've caught buses that far. That's a far bus ride. The last thing you want to do is play a football game. But the issue is with a lot of these presidents, a lot of these athletic directors, and a lot of these chancellors, they didn't do what Coach Prime did. Coach Prime created his own media department with his son, and he used his own money to invest in Jackson State. A lot of new facilities like the dorms, well, not the, I'm sorry, the game room they have, the training room, and it's another room. I can't think of the other room that they have. He did that out of his own pockets because he was making 300,000. He gave away 150,000 of it to invest in the facilities out of his own pocket. During their water crisis, he put everybody in a hotel and made sure they had 3 meals a day. Coach Prime did that. No football coach has ever done that in the SWAC, which is disappointing. I know when I was at TSU, all my years of being there, in a facility when you walk into the building where the coaches are, nobody on that staff, whether it was Coach Haywood, um, no, I forgot the other coach's name. Oh, damn, I can't think of the guy's name. Nobody decided to put a door on a doorknob. We were still missing a doorknob on the door. Nobody decided to paint it. Nobody tried to do more for the facilities at TSU because they gave up. Because you don't get, when you coaching in HBCUs, you're not getting no help. You're not getting no help at all. Stop, Junior. Like none. The president is not going to invest in athletics. Stop. The athletic director, they're not giving up their money to invest in facilities either. Nor is any chancellors. So that is why we're always so lagging behind. Like there's a history behind it. During the arms race, well, I call it the facilities race for universities across America. It was a rise in people upgrading their facilities. Clemson, Alabama, teams that wasn't. Think about it. During this time frame, prior to 2009, you didn't hear nothing about Clemson and Alabama, like at all. You didn't think of them when you thought of powerhouses. You thought they were just like foregone. They were out the way. You didn't think nothing of it. They invested in their facilities because they knew that was the next wave of college football, and they took off. Clemson has now won 2 national titles, and they played for 4. Um, as you know, Alabama's been dominating. They've won, I believe, 6, and they played in like I think 9. So 9 or 8 or 10. I can't remember the number. They played in a lot, and they've won a lot. But that's where we fall as HBCUs because nobody has a grand idea to, hey, let's invest in our facilities. Let's make it feasible to look at. Especially, I know my alma mater, we still have buildings that look like they were there when they first got built, 1927. It still look like that. Our theater still looks like that. Even our football facility, trash. Our football stadium is not even a stadium; it's more like a practice field. We don't even have we don't even have a end zone scoreboard. Bleachers terrible. So that's what Coach Prime was dealing with. And then on top of that, you got his president was taking money from their athletic department and putting it towards scholarships and general funds. Allegedly. Allegedly. But knowing the history of HBCUs, it's not out of the possibility, not out the realm. I know before I went to TSU, my wife was telling me a story of a president, not by the name of Priscilla Slade, who stole $630,000 from TSU. 630,000. Imagine what she could have done for the campus. Imagine if somebody would come on board and be like, "Look, man, let's upgrade." But that's where we lack at. We lack at innovation, and we lack at progression. That's why I think that was one of my reasons I wanted to get into administration, to change that, because for some reason nobody has a vision to be like, okay, let's change it. If we make small, simple changes, ain't no telling what HBCUs could, ain't no telling what a school could do. Look what Jackson State did. Look what Coach Prime did. When he got everybody on board, he got everybody organized, and he got everybody together. And he was like, look, follow me. I'm gonna create my media department. I'm gonna help out with facilities. And look, they were on a national landscape. They were on a national tier. When you thought of college football in America, you thought of Jackson State, you thought of Alabama, you thought of USC, Georgia, TCU. That has never happened before. But he showed us that it can happen if done the right way. So that's what's going to take for us to do things the right way. It's going to take athletic directors, a head coach, and a president coming together to be like, look, let's do this the right way. So hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I love it. Um, you know, and I definitely want to usher in a new wave of thinking for HBCUs. But y'all know how we do it, man. But that's the reason why. That's a lot of a lot of times, a lot of reasons that we fail at because of just poor mismanagement of funds. You kind of have to, especially when you're athletic department, you're gonna operate with the lowest athletic budget in the FCS. It's just real. So you have to make sure the money that you are getting, you use it the right way. Upgrade your facilities. Put a door on a doorknob. Get you a legit training room. You know, get you a better recovery room. Get you a practice field. That's got to. Got to. That's the only way you compete, especially in this landscape. And if we don't realize that, we'll never thrive. Never. But now we do it, man. Peace, love, happiness. Peace.